is Rinky, and today I bring to you the top common questions and answers that you get asked in every single interview that you appear. The better prepared you are, the more successful you would be in that interview. I am sure you would find a lot of content online on the common questions and answers usually asked in an interview. How this video is gonna be a little different is because I am going to give you the insider perspective of what the interviewer is willing to hear from you or is looking out in the questions that they ask you during the interview. So without further ado, let's get straight into the questions. So the most common question usually asked is, tell me about yourself. So now the interviewer, he or she may also ask this question in a different manner by saying that, why don't you take me through your resume? So in this question, the interviewer is not really interested in what content or what you are trying to say, but rather would be judging you on your communication skills, the passion and the enthusiasm that you bring to the table. So the right way to answer this question is apply all your communication skills and interpersonal skills to your best. Common mistake that I have seen most of the people do is they answer this question by saying that I really love watching movies or I really love partying because I have a lot of friends. No, that's not the way you go about it. So a correct example to take this question would be, hey, I have actually grown up in France and I have done a graduation in accounting. Maybe that is why I love numbers and working and solving with them. And also you may emphasize about where you grew up, what is exactly that makes you more passionate about. So that is the right way to go about it. Also, if you have prior work experience, do make sure that you highlight the key highlight or key achievements of your career up till then. That would definitely give you a boost on the position that you are applying for. The second most asked question is, tell me about your strengths. So here what the interviewer is actually willing to hear is, how positive do you think about yourself? So I know this could be a very generic question, so definitely there wouldn't be a wrong or a right answer for that. But for an interview perspective, if you go with one-liner answers like, yeah, I really am a friendly person, so people love to talk with me or to be around with me, would not really do justice to that question in an interview perspective. Instead, you can answer by saying that I really love putting attention to detail. So I plan ahead, I organize things, and that is when I go about doing any task. In fact, even during my college days, I used to plan ahead my entire day or entire week's plan to execute it properly and successfully. So that sounds right for an interview perspective. The third most commonly asked question is, what are your weaknesses? Now in this question, you need not necessarily list out your negative aspect of it. You may have your positive and negative, but definitely you need not put that out across in this question. So I have seen many people actually say that I am a very impatient person or I easily get angry on. So that is not what the interviewer is trying to understand. What the interviewer is trying to assess here is that you identify your problem areas and what exactly have you been doing to solve them step by step. A great example to this question would be, well, I think I'm a little too detail oriented and that is why at times I do stress my timelines a little bit because I want everything to be perfect. So I think I'm a little too over perfectionist kind of a person who craves for every single detail in a project and wants everything to be perfect. So here what you're trying to do is you are telling that you may pass timelines at some point of time, but however, you're also portraying your positives of being a perfectionist and a detail oriented. So I think this is one of the perfect ways to answer to that question, because this highlights your strength, not really the negatives about you. Most common question asked is, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Or the question could be also framed as, what are your short-term or long-term goals? Now, I have seen that in this particular question, people really struggle answering this correctly. Obviously, because you may not have any idea what do you have in plan in 5 years' time. I can understand that, right? But in an interview perspective, the interviewer is actually trying to assess how committed you are towards the company, how long you are going to be associated with the organization that you're interviewing for, and what is your commitment level. So we all know the pain point of attrition levels today, don't we? So the right way to take this question would be, well, in 5 years' time, I would probably want to be in a management position, and whilst reaching there, I would want to gain as much of practical knowledge and implementation experience through my team members and my manager for sure. So this portrays that you do have a definite career path in that organization that you have thought over, and you are also a key team player and willing to learn from your manager. This definitely gives a positive outlook to the interviewer. The next common question is, what do you know about our company? So I am sure that the interviewer who is taking your interview knows about the company that he or she is working for, don't they? But what they are trying to assess here is whether you are really serious about this interview or your interest in that organization, or are you just coming for a random interview without any research? So the key area here is research. Research about the company, the product or services that they offer, and the good positive newsletters that have come up about the company recently. So one of the best ways to answer that question is, oh, well, I know that your company has recently got the Best Customer Service Award, and I also know that your company has a great clientele and excellent service. That's one of the best way to attempt to this question. This shows your interest and that you have done your homework before coming for the interview. The next most commonly asked question is, how do you handle change? Now, a lot of people I have seen take this question by answering just saying that, yes, I am very equipped in handling change. That would not really impress the interviewer, because the philosophy behind this question is the interviewer is trying to understand because whether you will be able to adapt yourself to any changes, because organizations keep implementing change of strategies every now and then. Employees come and they go, but these changes are definitely gonna be there. So how well you are equipped to that change is what the interviewer is willing to hear from you. So one of the best ways to take this question is saying that, oh well, I am really good in change because in one of my previous company that I have worked in, so my manager had to quit and there was a new manager who completely changed the strategy of a project which was nearing completion. We had to turn around everything with our team members and finally we could do a great job. So that shows your positive attitude towards change in the organization and how quickly you adapt to it. Another common question asked by interviewers is, how do you handle pressure? So what they are trying to assess is whether do you panic or do you stress out when put under pressure. Obviously these days employers or the interviewer is looking for candidates who can handle a bigger workload, bigger responsibilities and not stress out. So that is what they are trying to assess on. The perfect way to answer that question is, Well, I think I work equally well with or without pressure, because in one of the projects that I have currently handled, we had to complete a project in 4 days, which generally takes 10 days to complete. Obviously, the entire team was very panicking and they had no idea how to go about it. So I ensured that we'll list down our priorities and prioritize the important tasks to be completed into milestones. This definitely called out for late nights for sure, but also helped us to complete the project within the given stipulated time. So this shows that you work equally well with or without pressure. The next most commonly asked question is, how do you make important decisions? Now, most of the times this question could be asked if you are interviewing for a management position or a team lead position. So the interviewer is trying to assess how well would you be equipped to make a decision given the opportunity in future. So the right way to take that question is, well, I think making a decision might be critical. So I would definitely rely on my experience over the years of the consequences of the decision that we are making. Obviously, by weighing the pros and cons of the ideas that I get from my team members and also consulting with my supervisor about the consequence of that decision. This shows that you give a holistic approach to any single situation you are into while making an important decision. So that brings to the end of this video, and I hope that these questions and answers would help you prepare for your interview. All the best, keep rocking, and until my next video, stay tuned, take care.